Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production. We're doing it on September 4th, 2024. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, if it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram. Follow me there. Subscribe on the YouTube channel if you like to get the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you like to fiscally, financially support this show. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you wherever you're tuning in from. Whether it's here in Toronto, it's over there on the West Coast, Vancouver, in the middle, Saskatoon, over there in Halifax, over there in Quebecois, down south in the United States, further down south, Mexico, South America, over there in Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, Wagwan. We'll get to that one later on during the day, of course, but I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right into it. Let's just have some fun today because it is, man, September's here and we are doing it. Let's get a sip of this. First and foremost, let's get caffeinated, please. If we could just please, so go ahead and sip your coffees as well if you've not already had a sip. One more for the team. Nice. Burns a little bit, but that's a good sign. That means it's working. Glad to be alive and kicking. Of course, I've had a wonderful weekend. Just staying, just taking it one day at a time, but also like appreciating life and all that stuff. What have I been doing in my personal life? Just to recap a little bit, just the changes and the similarities that we all have in common in our daily lives. Matt, I'll say this. I have recently reintroduced the old fruit into the diet, which was, I didn't plan to cut it out. I'll say this, it had been a while since I had consumed some fruit on a regular, because despite the fact that, we might be all over the place, the west, north, east, south, up, down, inside, out, and you're like, what's going on with this show? Does this show have any direction? What are you talking about? And no particular agendas, and the same goes with my life. Seemingly on the surface, it might seem like it's all over the place, and a lot of times it sure is. But then at times I do enjoy a little bit of the routines, the certain things that, like, oh man, eating habits, for example, it's one of those things where if I find something that I'm cool with, I'll stick with it till I get sick of it, and then I'll switch it up. But for some time, I had just cut fruit out of my life because your boy's fiscally being frugal, because that's what the times call for. Some of us, of course, not all. And if you're not fiscally frugal, shout out to you. Where can you be non-frugal with your fiscals? Patreon.com/RobSadri. That's where you can go ahead and contribute to the show and become a silent angel partner and beautiful angel, sexy angel partner. The ones where you zippity zip the old mouthful, but you invest with your money and you just see where it goes. But nonetheless, I do like routines. I do have certain things that I like. Coffee's a definite, it's a part of my life. The walks that I go on a daily, but in spring, summer, fall, regular part of things that I eat. Also, I like my spaghetti meatballs. I like my, I'll get a steak sometimes. I'll just chop it up into little pieces. I'll fry that bad boy up. I'll have it with either potatoes, a little bit of rice. Who knows? But I do like so the things that work I keep, but sometimes it's like, oh, there's no time for fruit. And that's the thing too, it got me thinking about fruit, because you do hear the sayings like, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. They'll say that. Of course, the individual who came up with that story, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I do often think about certain things that get said. Who was this individual who came up with the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Must have been some guy or gal who had ample amounts of doctors available. He or she probably had a lot of doctors in his or her life. Probably too often, visiting doctors, getting visited by doctors too. Oh, if I could just keep this doctor away. Maybe it's a doctor, but they're also shagging on the side, you know what I mean? How do I keep this doctor away? Goes and has some, romantic endeavors on the road, comes back with a little bit of AIDS as he or she is chewing on an apple, states to the lover/doctor, hey doc, while chewing the apple, I may have the AIDS. Doctor walks away and she just realizes right then and there, oh, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It never really occurred to him or her that it might be the AIDS that kept the doctor away that he was seeing or she was seeing, but it doesn't matter. He's like, oh, well, you know what? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. I think he's a little bit afraid of the old AIDS. That might be it too. You know what I mean? And what kind of, why not something else? Why couldn't it have been like a tit a day keeps the doctor away? A vag a day keeps the doctor away. That way we would have all been just munching on box all day. Just, what are you doing? I'm keeping the doctor away. I can't help it. You'll say that, but no, they had to go with fruits. So an apple a day does keep the doctor away, unless otherwise the doctor's afraid of some, Mpox or STDs or whatever may be the case. But it might just be the fruit. Who knows? He's like, no, I'm cool with the AIDS, but he's got an apple. I can't do this anymore. An apple a day. I'm God. It's like a clove. It's like a garlic clove for vampires, but that's doctors. Show them the ass, like the cross for doctors. An apple. Which surprisingly works really well apparently with teachers, because that's what we did give teachers. That was a thing on the first day of shul. You might have, back in the day, I don't think it's a thing anymore, but they used to gift it. Oh, there you go, teachers an apple. So an apple a day keeps the doctor away, keeps the teachers in check, or something along those lines. But all I'm just saying is that it's good to be, a human. I'm happy to be alive and kicking. But yes, I have introduced fruits into my dietary system, if you will. The system is getting flushed. What am I consuming right now? It's pineapples and banana, or banana pineapple. Those are my, because I'm lazy too. Not that I'm not lazy in certain things. Like, your boy's a fucking go-getter out there just doing it all day, every day. But also I do like the things that don't take too much time. Washing dishes, if I could get rid of it, we do that. Consuming fruits right now, if I could do it, I would. But if I just had more time, and it occurred to me, well, what's the most time, or rather the least time consuming fruit that you, but the banana. No peeling except the obvious skin, which, if you're like, I don't want to waste any time, then down the whole thing with the skin. Apparently it might be good for you, or it might not, but I don't know. But that one's an easy one, the banana. You don't spend much time peeling anything, washing. There's no washing in bananas. There's no washing in bananas. And then the pineapples, you're like, well, what about the pineapple? You got to skin it, you got to dice it and slice it. No, sir, not this guy, because I already get the already sliced and diced. I already get the skinned. It's the ones that come in the can. Love it. Canned pineapples. Probably not as fresh, as healthy as a real, but it's still a real pineapple, obviously. It's got a little bit of preservative in it. Which one of us can't use a little bit of preservative? You know what I mean? The aging thing is just a bitch. But hey, two fruits, but I'll tell you what, it's not only delicioso, it's not only healthy, probably, but I bet it also makes my jizz taste a little bit sweeter. Now, the next step is obviously to find somebody who'd like to consume the old jizz, or it's not old, I get rid of it on a regular basis. It's being made on a daily basis and also disposed of, because we don't backlog here, I'll say that, but the shits have been a little bit, just because my body wasn't used. It had been a while. I'm just like, once I get in a thing, I'm like, we're not consuming this anymore. I'm not even say it, but I do, it just registers subconsciously. So I wasn't consuming, but now I am. And the old digestive/reproductive systems are working A-okay. As in, I got a little bit of the runny shits, but now they're back into the regular smooth sailing shits for this guy. So thank you very much again. An apple a day. For this guy, it's a pineapple/banana a day. It keeps you to focus on your work. And that's what it is, baby. So shout out to you guys and gals out there if you are consuming fruits, which, by the way, that's the thing too. They're like, wash your apples. You gotta wash it because there's like forever chemicals in everything. They'll say that. Forever chemicals, there's plastics in the apples. There's plastic in your brain now. There's plastic, you're plastic. Washing and rinsing is no longer good enough either. So with the apples, you're like, oh, I gotta wash these so I don't get any forever chemicals in my body. You gotta peel that skin, baby. Whatever you're eating, you gotta remove whatever it is. You gotta remove the skin. Washing is no longer available. It used to be just to give it an old rinse, but now they're spraying it. It's anti-aging for the fruits. It's, it's chemicals or chemicals, but it's what it is that if you are like, I like to save my time, I don't want to rinse, I don't want to wash, I don't want to banana pineapple in a can, you're good to go, son, daughters. wives, husbands, mi familia, cousins, distant cousins. Let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because it is September the 4th, of course. Oh, man, exciting times. I believe X was just banned recently in in Brazil. The social media platform formerly known as Tweet is now banned in Brazil. I don't know if the ban is still holding or if it's being debated as to whether or not they're going to give up the ban and go unban the ban. But apparently there's, I don't know why, to be honest with you. I did read an article. Apparently the officials, government officials are coming in and saying that X, formerly known as Twitter, needs to appoint a local legal representative in Brazil for X, and also be open to potentially banning people that are putting out disinformation and whatnot, which is confusing because that's all it says. These are very ambiguous. I don't know what that means. A legal representative, a local legal representative in Brazil. I don't know what that means. Does that mean they want a lawyer representing X, formerly known as Twitter? By the way, this makes it way longer to say the name of the company, X, formerly known as Twitter. You could have just, it's one of those things that did, if it was a good thing, sometimes you don't need to change a thing. That's sometimes sticking with the old is just as good, So what X, formerly known as Twitter, which rolls right off the tongue right there, is so they need to appoint a legal representative in Brazil. I don't know. Does that just mean like a lawyer? Does that mean like a pair of books regarding laws? Does that mean just like a consigliere down in Brazil? And they need to be open to ban. So that's one item. I don't know how these things work with international conglomerate businesses that there are businesses that are just international, but they're bi-coastal. You know what I'm talking about? East to west, son, sliding. Oh man, but that's what it is. They need to rep themselves locally, and it can't be. So that's one thing. At least we do know it needs to be locally legal. It can't be no outsiders. All right, you can't just appoint your own, outside legal representative. I don't know what for, because I don't know these. I don't know. These are things above my pay grade. A lot of things are above my pay grade. I don't have a pay grade, to be honest with you. It's just a one-man operation, and that's where you can support the show at patreon.com/RobSaturday. That's how you get the pay grade going up and up and up and up. But the point is, legal rep needs to be that's what they're saying, which is, harshen the old mellow on the freedom of speech and the expressions down in the Brasilia. And also they need to be open to apparently banning accounts or people that are putting out air quotes disinformation, whatever that means now. The only disinformation or misinformation or just shitty information that gets to be out there, it has to come through the government, or the government has to approve it. That way you can just set it out, it's okay. But if it's individual, no indie information, otherwise you're risking losing your privileges of running around on the beach, and them teeny bikinis. So all I'm saying is that personally, ban accounts. That's a little bit. That's I don't know how this is gonna go, but I will personally, what I will do, because I stand with the people of Brazil. I stand with freedom. I stand with expressions. I stand with all the good, the works. I stand with the works. Whatever it is that we need to stand, I stand with it. Sometimes I'll sit with it. At times people have seen me lean on it too. So that's, Daddy needs to take a rest every once in a while. Daddy doesn't like to go full speed all day, every day, but Daddy does go 365. You know what it is. So I'll say this, I'll sacrifice, I'll make a sacrifice. Tell you what, Brazil. Tell you what, world, I will stuff my face between some Brazilian ass, and I will, if there's a Brazilian butt sniffing competition, ladies, I will gladly stick my nose between your cheeks, and I will just let you sit there for minutes. And if need be, I'll go for hours. And if need be, we will continue to have multiple ladies with big booties sit on my face, and I will just stand where I need to stand on a position. I don't care how long this thing goes on, weeks, months, I'm prepared. Question is, are you? And that's what I'll do. So yeah, if there's like if there's a lack of judges for the Brazilian bikini competition, if there is a Brazilian butt sniffing competition that your daddy needs to get in there and stick his face in the middle of, daddy will do that. Poppy will do that. Because Poppy's all about teamwork and the fact that we're all in it together. So that's what I will do. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I hope that the ban is lifted so the people of the Brazil. I'm personally not on the social media platform known as X, formerly known as Twitter, just because I do everything myself, you see, and that's the thing. If there were other hands, potentially, because it takes time to edit and upload and all that. It's just 3 Patreons is what I can handle right now. Hindsight, I should have probably, maybe one day we will get on I don't know. Maybe we'll get on Twitter, maybe we'll get on X, maybe we'll get on the TikToks, maybe we won't. Maybe this we'll keep it at. Or maybe there'll be another social media platform in the future that the entire world gets to freely use, and I no longer need to stick my face in giant Brazilian ass cheeks. But again, if push comes to shove, if there are ladies with ass cheeks that are out there for miles, I will do it. And even once we've achieved our goals, I'll still do it just to prove a point or two, or just for funsies. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. But I'll say this, it's time to take a sip of this coffee and skirt, shall we? What else is going on in and around the world? I'll say this first and foremost. It would be interesting if we could, take a little bit of the technological advancements that we've made and, use them to enhance our everyday lives. But we'll get into that in just a sec. One beautiful story that I did come across is that we are taking biorepositories, shipping them all the way to the moon, or trying to make that something that we are trying to do, which got me excited. That's because we got to be on the lookout, fam. The global fam, Team Humanity fam, the entire fam jam, bunch of, galactic gals and boy joys out there. You know what I'm talking about. We got to get humanity a backup plan, because that's what it is. Because you never know. Despite the fact that we are floating in midair, despite the fact that everything's been fine and dandy for the most part, except for the few occasional, natural disasters and man-made, catastrophes here and there. For the most part, we've been lucky thus far. But we should take the time to have some sort of backup plan, which I've always been I like thinking of the fact that we might need a backup plan, or that we should be investing or creating backup plans for Team Humanity, that is. And yes, the moon has been a place of interest. I would like us to see us get back there again. I'm talking about, let's get there again with people. But also, I do like the fact that we are thinking about repositories. And repositories, I had to read about this, so I find out that we are taking cells. And I don't know what we're doing with it. We're taking and we are taking the cells, and we are going to be shipping it off to the dark side of the moon, where there's no light, so it's extra cold. We're using cryogenics essentially to freeze these cells, ship them off to the dark side of the moon where it's extremely cold, and these things will survive and thrive, and they're going to be facilities built, automated facilities, which will not need the aid of any human assistance in terms of moving forward the operation. If there are no humans, this facility is still a go, which is nice, just because you never know. We do have seed banks in Antarctica, which are, that's one of those things that's also been implemented, which is pretty cool, because you never know, once we might be, dealing with asteroids, blackouts, natural disasters, the shifting of the tides. The tides are they're rising, or they're depleting. This, that, and the other. The monkeys. Who knows? Everything that we do, we are always consistently getting better, but we also need to not only maintain, but make sure that we are safe. So it's good to know that there are seeds in Antarctica, because if anything goes wrong, the safest and easiest place to access for everybody is, of course, Antarctica. It's close, within reach for everybody to get access to those seeds. Why don't we put some stakes in there? Why are we just putting seeds? You know what I mean? But like, again, I'm not into preservation. I don't know the whole shebang, of course, but it's like, let's get a guy in there just cooking steaks and like preparing hamburgers for when shit really hits the fan, because I don't know if I'm going to be satisfied with seeds. You know, earth gets cold, earth gets warm, fires, droughts, lightning, blackout. Oh, what do we got to do? We got to, well, of course, we got to get to Antarctica, get our hands on some seeds. You know what I'm talking about? Because those seeds, and that's the best place you want to have those seeds too. You know what I'm talking about? A place where there is just ample amounts of life thriving. No, but it's good to keep them cold. It is good to keep them cold. It means they're fresh. Once you get your hands on the seeds, then move somewhere where it's hot enough or warm enough for you to make these seeds grow into plants. Who knows? But yes, it's nice to be able to think about the multiple stuff that we are sending into space, the probes, the satellites, and now bio repositories and cryogenics, putting cells up in the moon. But again, I don't want anybody, you know, the downside of this shit is, what if we start packing it up with all the good, and then some extraterrestrials get their hands on our good, shit hits the fan, we get there, we're like, we're here for the dark, you know, part of the moon with the repository, and there's some, you know, weirdo alien just fucking, you know, jerking off over our biorepository and all that in the dark in a corner wearing a trench coat. It's like, oh, what is that? Oh my God. So I'll say this, I'm happy to hear that we are planning these. Of course, it's not happening right now, but it's in the talks, and we just need to get some monies. And yes, of course, we need monies for everything, the things that are happening right here, right now, which are like right important right in our field, but also like the backup plan. It's good to have a backup plan. It's good to have like a, for humanity, that is, because it is crazy to think about. I do often think about this, just us floating in mid-space. We've been really lucky. That's what we've been really, you know, besides the few asteroids way back with the dinosaurs, but we've been really lucky. So I'm just saying, it's nice to think about these things, and definitely glad that other people are thinking about it too. Again, some might be like, we need to spend the resources down here. Yes, we do need to be printing more money for down here as well. So let us get to the printing of the monies and the resources together, shall we? Ladies and gents, I will, I will make another if anybody in the NASA's, if anybody in the space station is searching for biocells, I'm ready to jizz in a cup and send it over to the moon, if that's what it takes. If I gotta be brave, if I gotta make a stand with things, I will jizz in a cup and send it to the dark side of the moon. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, thank you again for joining me again. But it is nice to think about all the technological advancements that we're making and all the different things that we have at our disposal. I would like to see some changes made within our biology, because yes, we are merging with tech. Our bodies are evolving as well. People are getting bigger, faster, stronger. We are now living longer relatively compared to thousands of years ago. I would like to see more, if we could biohack the genes. I gotta say, I'm a little bit over feet, to be honest with you. They are, except the obvious that you use them for walking. They don't do much else, but I would like a thumb situation happening on the feet. So if we could use, some sort of genetic splicing of things, if we could mess around with the genes to get, because if we just had larger hands, 4 feet, we would have 4 hands basically, and we'd be able to still walk around, but it's lacking a thumb. It is lacking a thumb. And think about all the other wonderful things you could be doing with your giant hand feet. You could be driving with your feet. Think about that. And that way you could be on the phone all day every day. That's one of the main things they say. So your hands on the wheel. If you got extra hands, you could be driving and still you got 2 extra hands. Then you could be texting, sending out faxes, releasing, messenger doves and pigeons. All I'm saying is get a couple of thumbs on the old feetsies. Let's make a little bit of an improvement. And it's just, most people are just dealing with, oh, I got an arc, I got the flat foot. It's the binary. It's the old zeros and ones with feet. I would like to just, because it's, how amazing would back rubs be with, feet that are essentially large hands, hand feet, hand feet. Just, or maybe we stop calling them feet, just large hand feet. How great would that be? Or if you're like, man, I'm running a restaurant and I specialize in making pizzas, and I gotta rub the dough for the pizza, and you're like, I've only got 2 hands. But next thing you know, you could just take off your dirty shoes and your dirty socks, put a foot in the old mixing bowl and start just kneading the dough. It's wonderful. It is, sometimes you might be eating, you got a hot dog in one hand and a cell phone in the other, and your lover has also got a hot dog in her hand and a cell phone in her other hand as well, and she gets something as you're at the ballpark, catching the old ball game, catching the old balls, if you will, with the game, and all of a sudden she gets a little something in her, an eyelash went in my eye, I'm going blind, baby, and that's the thing, she can't put the hot dog down, she can't put the cell phone down, and neither can you. But guess what, if you had hands for your feet, you could just, again, get in there with your thumb, large thumb, and remove that eyelash from her eye socket, and everybody's just happy. And next thing you know, you're not fighting on the way back home, because guess what? You were there for her. She took a metaphorical backwards fall, and you opened up your arms and you grabbed her. There's you building trust, doing trust activities with putting your giant dirty thumb in her wet eye. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm really good at typing, but I wish I had the competition is stiff out there with the robots and the monkeys and the animals that are getting smarter. There's just been a deceased whale that was apparently a secret agent spy for the Russians, a whale, or I forget which kind of mammal fish it was. It doesn't matter. It was a large fish, a beluga whale of sorts, just died too. So it was doing spy work for the Russians apparently. There's fish doing spy work. So you got competition. You're like, I gotta get my typing skills a little bit faster, man. The job market's tight out there. So you're like, man, and there you go. If you just had an extra couple of thumbs down there, you could just be fucking pumping them out. Whether it be reports, novels, newspaper articles, who knows, whatever it may be, you're pumping them out. Why? Because you got extra thumbs. But guess what? We need to start implementing these changes and be okay with these changes as well. So it's just one of those things that, yes, we are appendix, we're all over it, we can get rid of it, but let's bring in something, because you can't just remove one thing without, they say once you remove something, you got to replace it with, so there you go. Remove the appendix for everyone, turn them into thumbs, put them on the feet. Let's get our hands dirty together, shall we? But that's just how I feel. That is just how I feel, ladies and gentlemen. There has been interesting, but also this one's a little bit of a, I read the headline, then I had to dive in and read the article, then I had to read another article, saw a brief video, and I don't know what to make of it. It is, it's a situation that's unraveling in France, in the French, it's the beautiful nation of France, where they eat baguettes and wear, mime makeup, and where there is ample amounts of cheese and wine. The French. But I'll say this. Some of you guys and gals might have already heard this one. Apparently there was a man in France who was drugging his wife for over 10 years and inviting strangers to the home to rape the wife. And this apparently happened somewhere between 50 to 80 times over 10 years. I believe this is an open pub it's publicly open. The case is open for the public. I believe that's the wishes of the victim of this circumstance. But I read that and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how does this even it is one of those, it's not, this is obviously not a good thing, but the numbers are magnificent in terms of, again, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination, condoning any of these activities, but I'm just saying this is a horrible thing to be really good at apparently, but this guy was, because you got to look at it from all sides. If there was a record to be, I think this guy's probably got, I don't know his name, I don't want to even it's out there. You can go read about it, or I'm sure you've heard of it, or you might have come across it, as we are all so interconnected these days. So the things that I know, and the things that you know, I know, and what do we know? The thing that we do know is that it's a horrendous act. It's disgusting. It's despicable. But it did happen a lot for over 10 years. This guy was, and I just have a few questions and concerns. Okay, it's apparently this man and woman have 3 kids. There's, put the drugging and the rapists, but they're just regular people. 3 kids, man and woman living in, human living in the, they're in their, they're a little bit older. I don't want to be an ageist or anything, because I'm not. But they're an experienced couple. They've been around for some, and that's the thing. I was just curious as to how you'd invest that. How do you come up with that much time to coordinate 50 to 80 rapes with the drugging of your? How does that even, because I live a regular life like many of you guys and gals out there, and sometimes at the end of the day you're like, oh, I wish I could, can I cut some sleep? Can I work it? That's the thing. Even going back to the old pineapple and banana thing, you're like, how do I get some extra? How did this guy come up with the time to coordinate all these? It's because it's a lot. It's 50 to 80. This is, again, I didn't even bother looking up the stats, to be honest with you, because I don't want to be searching for that kind of stuff on my laptops or anything like that. But I will say this, somebody should probably look it up. This is some sort of a world record. I don't think anybody else has single-handedly done 50 to 80. I'm sure there's some other contenders. I'm pretty sure Genghis Khan was probably, again, with the amount of genes that guy's got going around the world, a lot of those were probably not a lot of, not everybody was heading, to the altar with all fucking smiles. I'll say that. But with that being, that is, again, horrible event. But again, it is a record of sorts. 50 to 80 over 10 years. That's for 10 years, you'd be getting raped every month, pretty much. Pretty much. Every other month. Maybe you'll take a couple of months off, but then you're right back at it. And you're getting drugged too. Apparently this woman was drugged to the point where she wasn't conscious. And this guy would go online, put up ads, asking for people to come and rape his drugged out wife. Which is, this one does not bode well for the males out there. I'll say that one, but also it is, because how do you put up? I didn't even know. Apparently, you could put up ads like this, and people apparently are like, why would? I've got a lot of questions. Because who would respond to that? If you're just searching for sexual activities on the lines, and you're searching through there regular hookups, not for this guy. Threesome, no thank you. An orgy party, again, let's see, been there, done that. Oh, what's this? Drugged out wife, and it's on some website like shedon'tknow.com. It's like, what? Yeah, come over. My wife is drugged out and she's unconscious. Rape her. We're gonna film it, and you're gonna leave, and I'm gonna do this 50 to 80 more times. How does this lady know? Again, I'm not this, my heart does genuinely go out. That's horrible. How do you not know something is if you are going under, if you are just waking up, drugged out, and how does this just, And again, I'm interested to know the people that went out there, what were they, and because again, you come across the ad and you call up the guy, or he calls you, or you guys exchange emails, and you want to make sure. So you're telling me your wife is drugged out, and because I'm telling you, man, I do not show up to parties where people are not passed out, and that's just what I want to make sure. Because I'll say this once, and I'll you know what? It's just one of those things that's how do you? Because I'll tell you, man. Some people have made. I've had people make promises where they tell me that there are going to be people passed out, but I show up and they're not passed out. I just want to make sure your wife is not. It's no, sir. I assure you, she's passed out and unconscious. That is So that is, in terms of, yes. Moral of the story is that men, we are generally speaking, most of us, generally speaking, if there is a wet hole of sorts involved, we don't ask too many questions. That's probably something I guess some of us do, in that sense, that they specifically ask questions where they want to like narrow it down. Because again, I don't want to be coming up to your house and your wife is not passed out, and that is, again, a 50 to 80, that is a large number. Yeah, I don't know much more about the case. Apparently this guy likes to just, he's a creep. He's a creep. He's a perv. Apparently he got caught like filming some people in a grocery store or something, people under people's skirts or something. I don't know the deets of the situation, but the numbers were, again, not something you'd want to be really good at. But this guy is, I'm guessing, like top 20 for sure in the world. If we're not counting like wars and like rape, like just by a single rando, these are significantly high numbers. So not something you're proud of, or again, I don't know maybe this guy is proud of it. Those are extremely high numbers. But I am just fascinated by the amount of time you'd be able to find to allocate to such an act 50 to 80 times. That is a lot. That's like 10 years of like how. I don't even, you'd have to, and the lights were still on at your house, so like everything else was in like, something like, how does that even happen? So I am a little bit, I was a little bit taken aback in terms of the numbers. Horrible. We'll see what happens. I'm guessing 50 to 80 men are probably, because apparently most of them are filmed, so apparently, these dudes are going to be going to jail, I guess. I don't know much more, like, unless, that, yeah, I don't even know. That's a crazy story. That is a crazy story. My heart genuinely does go out to the lady. Of course, that's horrible. And that's a decade of just like pure confusion and just like how do you get drugged to the point for like 10, like your days, your months, years must be so, man. What was your life like for 10 years? It must have just been a drowsy Benadryl state of, dream life. Who knows? So that is something that has happened. And I found the numbers were extreme. And again, it's like the Jordan of fucking sedation and rape, this guy. But, that's news from France right there. Skirt. Let's skirt simultaneously. Skirting all over the place right here. Cat hats. I was just thinking about this, ladies and gentlemen. Oftentimes people are like, oh, it's the season is, fall is approaching, winter's around the corner, and I want to wear a beanie or a toque or whatever. I want to wear some form of hat on my head to keep my head warm from the cool breezes of fall, winter, and also be able to engage in some sort of fashion maybe, or engage in some sort of a statement like, look at me now with my hat. But that's the thing, hats are kind of like, they've been the same, and they've not changed for a long time. But then I looked around and I said, well, what do people enjoy on their head? Soft stuff, really like, just furry, nice, soft, warm, comfortable. And I said to him, what in nature is soft and really cool to pet? Cats. Dogs are bigger though. And I thought to myself, cats would be a better option for this case. And I said to myself, why not start wearing cats as hats? And the benefit of this is that with hats, you'd often lose them or put them somewhere and forget, but you'd never forget you brought your cat hat. Like if you there's a little bit of training that needs to go into this, but if you train your cat to sit on your head, they could warm your head up, and wherever you just place them down, they can roam around, and upon leaving, pick them back up, put them on your head, walk around, and it'll be comfortable. it'll protect you against wind, especially if they've got those like, if they're like one of those like, hairy like Persian cats. Well, you know what I'm talking about? One of the fat tails, just wrap that up. It could be like a scarf you could be wearing a scarf. I didn't even think of the scarf shit right here. This just, holy shit, Shark Tank. If you're ready to make a deal, I'm ready to make a deal. If you're ready to make a deal, I'm ready to make a deal. But if you're ready to make a deal, let's make a deal. And we'll do, if you're ready, I'm ready. Then Shark Tank. Cat hats, scarves. I didn't even think of this guy. The scarf shit just came to me right now. Motherfucker, we just fucking, oh man, the industry's about to be taken by a storm. Cat hat, scarves. There's never been anything like it in any industry. Aerospace, no. Physics, medicine, I doubt it. Fashion, please. This is gonna fash off and fash on. But I'll say this, from the occasional scratches to the retina and the bleeding from the eye, if you could just put that aside, everything else is a clear win for this campaign. I believe that the cat hat scarf would make a great conversation starter for you to just like roll up to a bar with a fine piece of ass and just start making conversation, and she'll look at you and be like, oh, what a lovely, gentleman. Who am I speaking? And you could say that I am just a regular man, but nothing. But this hat and this cat in a hat and a scarf just makes me feel like I can do anything. And she'll look at you and she'll say, you're not just a regular man, you're the man with the cat in the hat and the scarf. And guess what? Before you know it, a couple of drinks are being had. Next thing you know, someone's rubbing her legs all over your neck. Next thing you know, she is getting on top of the table at the bar, and she is inserting your head up her vagina. But luckily for you, she is wearing a long enough skirt so that people are not really able to see what is going on. And just so happens that she is equipped with hands for her feet, so she can really actually grab a nice tight grip around the table and just squeeze her badge over your head. So all of this you can thank to the old cat hat scarf situation that we've just come up together. And should this shake the world and open a whole gateway for change, then so be it. Again, if you happen to lose an eye, please don't come crying at our facilities and our location, trying to be a bummer about those. Oh, my cat hat scarf kind of ripped out my eyes. I can't see. I'm blind. Quit whining all the time. Quit looking at the glass half empty, you son of a bitch. You're looking good, especially for my men's out there. You know what I'm talking about? You age a little bit, you start getting a little bit of the old whatever's happening up top. Cat over the old head. Because we've had great hats and hat history. At one point, we had the top hats. We had we had also the cowboy hats. Of course, they're mostly worn by people who are in the southern regions of the Americas. The colder regions, it doesn't help that it's got these long wings, right? Because the wind will blow. I wear a hat. I wear a cowboy hat, but it's just the winters are windy, so I don't think that'll hold. You need to, but a cat, oh man, and that's the beauty of it. The cat hats will actually, they cling on your side of the temple right there with their claws, and they will not be budged or removed by 40, 50 kilometer an hour winds whatsoever. Whereas your old stupid hat would just be flying down the street and you look like a fucking retard chasing after it. But guess what? A little catnip in the palm of your hands. Next thing you know, a couple of scratches on the old retina, and 6 months down the line, you and your cat are one. And the beauty of it is, you can shower with this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'll say this. I did read about an interesting story that came across on the old radar, if you will. In the kingdom of let me try to say this one right because I'm not too familiar with it. And we do shout out a lot of places in and around the world, but I sometimes read the names of places that come up on my radar, and I'm like, man, I haven't heard of that one, or I might have seen it a few times, but it's not one of those ones that really sticks with you until something cool happens or something happens and it sticks with you. So the kingdom of Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, formerly known as Swaziland, the king of this wonderful nation in Africa, which is, I believe it's close to South Africa, actually, this one as well. He just married his 16th bride, which is, you know, it's just like this segment of the show, I believe should be called something along the lines of, well, cultures or something, aren't they? Ain't cultures something to look at? Different cultures. How about that? That could be the name of this. Different cultures. How about that? That could be the name of the section. Maybe we could have a song. Different cultures. How about that? Different cultures. Different cultures. Different cultures. How about that? Different cultures. How about that? This segment of the show is called Different Cultures. How about that? King of Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, again married his 16th wife, I believe is a 21-year-old woman. And it's, you know, different cultures, you know, it's 16 wives. That's a lot of wives. You know, because different parts of the world do things differently. That is, I guess that's considered polygamy, polyamory, multiple partners and whatnot, as opposed to the old monogamy. You want a monogamy with me, or you want a little bit of polygamy? Want a polygamy? Monogamy. Polygamy. So this one's 16 wives. That's a lot, again, a lot of time spent, but he is a king, so he could, the beauty of it is that he could afford it. It's not like, because that's, I believe in some cultures they say you can have as many as you want, as long as you can afford to, as long as you can, one, treat them all equally, which I don't know how that would work, because we've all had things, we've all had items and objects in our, and if you get a new version or something, a newer something, then the newer thing is always, and you know, the freshest thing. Like, even if you've got, like, you know, not to say that women are objects or men are objects, or that men and women should be objectified or nothing like that, but like, if you have cars, if you get a new car, the new car is the thing for at least a few months. The new one, you might have one, like, you know, one go-to car, as opposed to, you know, and the other ones are kind of like, you know, in between switch up cars, and then you might get a new car to be, so as to how, again, but these are different cars. I don't know how the whole, like, maybe he's treating all of them equally. If she's happy and he's happy, I'm happy for them. One interesting nitbit piece of the, you know, the interesting part of this was that recently he was the king of Eswatini, as he did a few years ago. This was a good thing that he did state that you should not be marrying or, you know, or engaging any sexual activities with females under the age of 18. He said that a few years ago. He made a law, he passed a law, which was a good, positive, forward move, some might say that. Shortly after, he had to find himself a cow because he married a 17-year-old woman. So all in all, if the cow is happy and she is happy and he is happy, then I am happy. And I will say this. So that's the interesting fact, is that they might have had some sort of a meeting, and he might have said something along the lines that we cannot be engaging in sexual activities with girls that are 18 and under. And like an elderly person in the room, or some, like, you know, maybe even a younger fellow might have gone, why are we not allowed to engage in sexual activities with ladies 18 and under? That is a great question to ask. The reason why we cannot have sexual activities with ladies under the 18 is because of the HIV/AIDS. So you are telling me we cannot have sex with the girls under 18 because of the HIV? That is right. You cannot have sex with the girls under the age of 8 because of the HIV and the AIDS. No other reason. No other reason, because that's what at the end of the day, these young ones are running around getting the AIDS and the HIV, so you shouldn't have sex with the young because of the AIDS and the HIV, man. Not because of any other reason. And again, these are just cultural differences, my friends. Some parts of the world do things differently. It's just interesting. Crazy though, how he like no more sex with 18-year-old a month later. Oh, guess I have to find myself I don't know the Eswatini accent. That is my generic, that is my Nigerian accent that I would, yes, if I knew the exact accent of the Eswatini nation, the wonderful nation, which is wonderful, which I'd like to visit with the kings. They do dance. They have rituals. They have beautiful rituals, dancing rituals. The women with bare-chested tits are out there dancing in the hot desert of wherever. It is not the skirts and the tits. Fan of that. But it was interesting to see that. Yeah, we cannot be having sex with the 18 and under. Oh, what a great point. Maybe because it's not morally right. No, it has nothing to do with the morality. The HIV and the AIDS. If he's happy, she's happy, and all the people there are happy, and the cow is also happy in the exchange of the... But that's one of those things that I would like to maybe one day see kind of happen in and around. It would be nice to, it's hard to put in things that are international and global, like things that we all agree upon, but engaging in the sexuals with the under 18 femmes and the dudes too. But again, it's always the old double standard for, nobody really, we don't if a 16-year-old dude happens to lose his virginity to 34-year-old woman or whatever, it doesn't. But again, it is a thing. So the thing, I just found it interesting. That's the thing too. He's the king. He could have made a law. He could have, in his country, he could have just passed a law and make it 17. He didn't. He said 18, but the fact is but this bitch right here, we're getting married. You're number 9. We're getting married. But at least he's got the time and the energy, and that's the beautiful thing about the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, where can you find these videos? On Instagram, follow me there, subscribe on the old YouTube channel, help your boy, help yourselves, help your family members. If they are engaging in any sort of activity that demands from them to be a little bit extra, then subscribe, because that'll help them become extra for whatever, I don't know how, but I will. If you are stuck in space, we're with you. If you want to get stuck in space, we are also with you. Subscribe on the old YouTube channel. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you'd like to fiscally, financially support the show. And I'll be back here again on Friday. In the meantime, keep on queefing. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.